Can you please stop? I do not want to embarrass you. I don't know why you keep putting your fucking self in it. Listen, you did what you did, and then you got fired. Don't try to justify why you got fired by doing all of this.
Okay, doing all this. All right, finally.
All right, he's doing all that now. Okay. Finally got his head out of the way. Man, he's really keeping up with the Gen Z crowd. What even comes after Gen Z anyway? Whatever the next one is, I guess. But I'll be honest, I still need to learn that feature where you can kind of float over the screen while talking. That's actually pretty cool. It almost gives off Poltergeist vibes, if you remember that movie. Then things took a turn when Rashad McCants dropped a message that instantly caught everyone's attention. Salute. He knew I was never coming to the new show. That's a bold way to start, and definitely something worth paying attention to. Rashad didn't stop there either. He went on to say that Gilbert already knew he felt Skip Bayless was brought in to replace him, because in Rashad's opinion, he had been killing it during seasons 2 and 3, even with their disagreements about Kobe Bryant. From Rashad's point of view, the message was pretty straightforward. He was basically saying, don't act like I betrayed you or messed up your plans, because you already knew where I stood. You know exactly what went down. But like with any public dispute, there are always different sides to the story, so before anyone jumps to conclusions, it's important to hear everything first.
Skip was never there to replace you, not on my watch. We were a basketball podcast. I brung Skip for football, hence why he was never on the show.
That's a strong retort. He ain't never on the show. Interesting. I do remember when Skip came on because we talked through it. Gilbert and I were talking, not so much me coming on, but it was a little bit of, let's poke at that for a second. But I knew Skip was in the fold, and Skip had the upper hand on everybody else in football. Like Gilbert and I were talking about football and a football show, and Skip was the dog. I don't know if it came because the head of Underdog knew Skip or somebody up top was just like, Skip, but it was gonna be Skip and friends. And the way I roll is, you and I gonna tell all the time when I work with you that you're my friend, because I'm gonna be telling the truth and you're gonna be over there doing the show. So I knew that I ain't even pursue it fully. I was like, skipping ain't gonna work, because when when Skip starts skipping, I'm gonna start running and I'm gonna be like, dog, come on, man, hurry up. So that wasn't gonna work. But to Gilbert's point, it was never Skip coming in here to do basketball stuff. It was football.
During basketball season until the football ended.
That's a pretty strong response, the panel joked with a laugh, adding that he was hardly ever on the show anyway. And then the conversation turned more serious as he recalled how Skip Bayless entered the picture, explaining that he and Gilbert had discussed the idea even though it wasn't really about him joining, and that he already knew Skip was part of the plan, because when it came to football, Skip had more influence than almost anyone, with Gilbert and him talking about building football content where Skip was the obvious choice. Whether the decision came from an existing underdog connection or higher up, it always felt like the vision was Skip and friends. And he went on to say he never seriously pursued being part of it because his approach is always to be honest, even with friends, knowing that setup wouldn't fit him and that he didn't think it would work, since once Skip gets going, he would naturally respond the same way he always does by saying, "Come on, man, let's keep this moving." And finally, he made it clear that, to Gilbert's credit, Skip was never meant to take over the basketball side at all, because the entire plan was always focused on football.
Then they turned their back on me because they was paying Skip 4 days. You know what fucking 4 days mean? 3 football days, 1 basketball day. We only had 2 basketball days, so that means your punk ass was out. And I was standing on business, so they turned on me. And then what did they do? They went to your soft ass and put you on the football show. And you want to tap dance on the football show, which then opened the gate for them to be on the basketball show. Now, did they do the basketball show with Skip on Wednesday and Thursday? No, because I wouldn't have been on that show. They did it on Friday. They brung your punk ass on a Friday to do Gilbert Arenas, which opened it up.
See, this is exactly why communication matters in every relationship. When people stop talking, misunderstandings start to build, and over time, those misunderstandings create distance.
A lot of the fear people feel comes from not knowing the full story, and the reason they don't know it is because nobody is actually having the conversation. Rashad and Gilbert were too close for things to end up feeling this far apart, but that's what happens when people avoid the uncomfortable talks. It's not even about whether someone is a good or bad person. Most people would rather stay on surface level topics like vacations or free time instead of having the real conversations that actually matter, even though those are the ones that could prevent situations like this. I'd honestly like to see Rashad McCants keep moving forward because he's entertaining and has built his own lane, but I can also understand why some people feel like his role overlaps with Skip's. And still, the way everything played out makes you wonder if it could have been handled way earlier. Then suddenly the tone changed completely. Now can you please shut the fuck up? Because if I go live, you're going to look bad, sir. I know what happened in Arizona, sir. It didn't make you look good. And the reaction was instant. Oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. I know what he means. Then another clip came in. Oh no, there's another video too. Let me pull this up. I'm not happy about this. I hate when there's more to the story, especially when you already know it's probably not going to make things better, but we're still going to watch it anyway because I know you all feel the same way. As he queued it up, he stepped back and looked at the bigger picture, saying this is the worst part because social media and constant content can end up hurting real people just for attention. And even though he feels like he's trying to highlight issues in a world we all love, sports, athletes, competition, the respect that comes with being elite, there's still so much division, drama, and constant GOAT debates where someone always has to be pushed down just to lift someone else up. He explained that he's not a confrontational person. He doesn't look for fights, and he usually just laughs when people try because it always starts the same way and ends with nothing meaningful changing anyway. So his mindset has always been to bring understanding instead of more conflict, even though he realizes that talking about these situations can sometimes add to the very energy you're trying to avoid because these beefs are real. He even used D.L. Hughley as an example, saying people might think they're enemies based on media, but in real life, they'll probably shake hands and keep it moving the next time they see each other, because face-to-face energy is usually different. And he joked about carrying him like a backpack before bringing it back to the main story, saying he thought Rashad and Gilbert were closer than this, but apparently there are receipts. So he paused and read the message. You tell them I'm sorry. I don't want everybody losing their jobs because of my bad decisions. I'll continue supporting Underdog like I always have because they treated me right. I can't lie. And then laughed, adding that somebody needs to tell Rashad to charge his phone because it's at 51%, before saying, all right, let's hear what he's got to say.
Say Rashad, oh my God, you house nigga. Oh, Rashad, no, you erased it, boy. These are your receipts, boy. You might want to, you went to North Carolina, you can read. You better read the beginning of this.
I hate when people...
I can't stand it when people start deleting receipts. I've seen it happen before, and I've been through it myself. Messages disappear, posts get erased, and then suddenly it's, I never said that. Come on, man. Or they actually did say it, but now they're trying to pretend it never happened. That's what I don't understand. Why can't people just let reality speak for itself? How are you going to claim you're keeping it real while you're busy rewriting the story? The moment somebody starts deleting messages, cleaning up old posts, or trying to reshape the timeline, it immediately raises questions for me. Maybe Rashad once had a post saying, "Gilbert's my guy, Gilbert's the man." Then one day you check his Instagram and it's nowhere to be found. As soon as I notice something like that, if I'm the one trying to figure out who's telling the truth, my first reaction is simple. I stop trusting what you're saying. Once you start altering the record instead of standing on it, it feels like you're trying to distort reality. And to me, that's just weak.
Right? That's who gave you this? You is delusional. It says, me complaining that we only have 2 days, sir. I'm sorry. I wanted more fucking trophies because if we got 5 days, we will win all the trophies. I'm sorry that we complaining about 2 days when we wanted 5.
See, as great as that Underdog deal was, and I thought it was amazing. I've been on the show. I went to Gil's house. I saw what they poured into him in terms of resources. Insane. I mean, he got Gil
Look, as incredible as that underdog deal was, and I honestly thought it was a fantastic opportunity, I've seen it with my own eyes because I've been on the show and I've been to Gilbert's house, and what I saw was the insane level of resources they invested in him. It was unbelievable. They really helped build the exact kind of setup Gilbert had always wanted, and he's even said that himself. But the truth is, every opportunity comes with a trade-off, because when you think about it, they're giving you everything you asked for and then some. They're taking care of your crew. They're literally building a studio inside your own house. And when I say studio, I don't mean a couple cameras and a laptop with some cheap lights from a music store. I'm talking about a full high-end production setup where you're walking around asking, where did this come from? What is that built into the wall? What's behind that glass? It looks like a full professional production facility right inside the home. And you're just standing there thinking, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, none of that comes for free because everything has a price attached to it. And that price might show up in conversations like, we'd like you to work 2 days a week, and you respond, we'd rather do 5. And they come back with, 2 sounds good, doesn't it? And you're thinking 5 sounds even better. And then suddenly it becomes maybe later. And honestly, hearing that kind of back and forth bothers me because I've lived it myself. I'm not acting like I'm above it or different from anybody else. I've been in situations where I was making great money, but someone else was telling me exactly where I had to be and when I had to be there. They call it an itinerary, but sometimes it just feels like I'm telling you where your behind needs to be. And man, I used to hate those schedules. Like, we need to move everything to 9 a.m. 9 in the morning for what, when the actual event doesn't even start until 7 at night? Why am I sitting in meetings all day when I already prepare and take my work seriously? I just don't understand why we're sitting through a 9 o'clock meeting for a 7 o'clock event just to eat a continental breakfast, make small talk, and listen to someone read something that could have been emailed the day before. And yeah, now you've got me fired up. But at the end of the day, you still do it because it's your job. And I know a lot of people understand exactly what I'm talking about. Because that's the real push and pull in these situations, where one side wants 2 days and the other wants 5. And over time, that tension builds frustration. And that's probably what started happening between Gilbert and Rashad. And eventually, both people just start moving in different directions because they're chasing different goals, even while everyone has to act like everything is fine because they're still an underdog collecting the check.
I tasted success and wanted more. I thought that was our goal. See, I thought our goal was to be the best. That's what I'm telling Tim. This got nothing to do with Rashad. This part that you posted is about Rashad. You tell Liam I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning of the season. You tell Liam I'm sorry. I don't want anyone, meaning you fuck boy, to lose your job. So I'll conform. Over my bad decision, I'll push underdog more, meaning at the moment in time, I wasn't collabing on posters anymore. I wasn't wearing the product anymore. So I said, I'll wear it. I'll do the tap and dance for you to keep your job.
Now, I want to be clear about something. I don't actually feel this is what's happening, but I am thinking about it, and there's a difference. We've talked before about how intuition moves faster than conscious thought, so I'm not saying I believe this theory, just that it has crossed my mind, and part of me wonders if there's a chance they're trying to pull a fast one on all of us. Maybe Gilbert and Rashad end up working together again, and this whole situation flips into one big surprise. They probably think they're being slick, but I'm not fully buying into it yet. We've seen things like this before, like when Shannon Sharp had everyone talking after that viral audio clip, and people thought it was one thing, only to find out it was tied to promoting a product. And moments like that make you question everything. But honestly, I don't get that same feeling here, because this situation feels more like a real disagreement. It feels authentic, even though the timing definitely makes you think, especially when you look at everything happening right now. Basketball talk is heating up again, training camp is getting closer, everyone is discussing LeBron, breaking down team outlooks, reacting to every off-season headline. Even something as small as Anthony Edwards getting a new haircut turns into a storyline. And while football will soon take over the headlines, right now, basketball is building real momentum. And at the same time, Gilbert's new show is set to launch in August, so naturally the buzz is growing. And if you know Gilbert Arenas, you already know he understands how to create attention because he's done it before and knows what it takes to become the biggest story in the room. Like when he partnered with Underdog, and it was a different stage of his journey, more about learning the business, figuring things out, and using every resource available to build something bigger. Imagine that conversation. Help me learn this business. Let me use your resources to figure it all out. Deal. Come on over. Here's the house. You even have your own entrance. And then a month later, you go downstairs and it looks like a full television network has taken over the basement. Production is on another level. Everything is built out. Everything is professional. And at that point, it's like, all right, this is different. And now the spotlight is fully on Gilbert because the infrastructure is there. The Playmaker partnership is there. But everyone is watching him because this is his project. And let's be honest, Gilbert has never been the type to settle for second place. We already talked about GOAT debates where the moment someone drops to number 2, people start asking questions like, what happened? Did he fall off? Is he still the same? Because that's just how sports conversations work. And I don't know if Gilbert feels that pressure personally, but this is Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero. Competing has always been part of his identity. He's built his name by aiming for the top, and that's exactly where he wants this new venture to be. Which is why a small part of me wonders if all this attention is actually acting like a promotional boost. Kind of like when Jay-Z partnered with Underdog around an album rollout, where the goal wasn't to be quiet, but to make sure everyone was watching from day one. And maybe that's exactly what this is. Maybe all of this conversation is just the nitrous, the turbo boost, helping launch the next chapter.
And everybody else's. Because if I left, quit, or got fired, remember, you gotta get the fuck out of my house. And then all the rules that I have inside my contract kicks in. Meaning Gilbert Arenas shut down, now you gotta create another. You see, I was conforming for you. This tells everybody the fact that you will post this that has nothing to do with you, which was for you, lets all of us know how you did pick a side.
That's why I'm not feeling it, but I'm thinking it. You feel me? Like Gilbert is like, it seems Gilbert's caught off. It seems like for this to be orchestrated, it would be smoother. It seems this is jagged. Like, oh, I gotta go over here. You gotta go over here. I gotta go over here. That's what it feels like. But I'm thinking there's a master plan at play. Let's get some buzz.
And you chose them over us. This was about us having 5 days because we wasn't happy with 2 and they wanted to fire. You're gonna need some milk. That was easy.
That's exactly why I don't necessarily believe it, but I can't help thinking about it. You get what I'm saying? Gilbert almost looks caught off guard, and if this were all carefully planned, I'd expect it to feel much smoother. But instead, everything feels scattered, like one person's going this way and someone else is moving another direction. And it all comes across a little messy, which is why it actually feels real, even though there's still a small part of me wondering if there's a bigger strategy behind all of this. Maybe it's all about creating attention. Maybe it's a situation of you picked them instead of us. We wanted to do 5 days because we weren't happy doing only 2, and they wanted something different, and you're gonna need some milk. That part was easy, man. Nobody does entertainment quite like Gilbert. And it's funny because I know exactly where I stand. Who am I compared to Gilbert? Let's be honest, he's operating on another level. His show is bigger, his platform is bigger, and I respect that. I'm competitive by nature, so don't think I've given up. But right now, he's definitely ahead. I still remember doing a panel with Gilbert years ago when he had just started or was about to launch another show. And I remember thinking, this dude is crazy. I was at ESPN at the time, looking at everything he'd done in basketball and wondering why he wasn't doing even more in media. Then we talked and he mentioned he was about to launch something new. And looking back, it's actually great to see how far he's come. But what really sticks with me is this. The part that bothers me is I think Rashad and Gilbert would be better together than apart. But at the same time, Gilbert has already shown he can carry a platform on his own, while Rashad still has to prove he can do that independently. And that's not hate, it's just reality. Because I've seen a lot of people leave major media thinking they can build something alone, and it's incredibly difficult. People think it's like a regular treadmill where you press a button and it just keeps going. But independent media isn't like that.
It's more like a self-powered treadmill where it only moves when you move. Stop pushing and everything stops. Speed up and it speeds up. Slow down and it slows down. The whole thing depends on your effort. And not everyone is built for that, because some people thrive inside a bigger system where research, production, and planning are already handled, and you can just ask for information, like, can someone pull up what happened with the Buffalo Bills' #1 defense in 1997? And it's ready. But independent media means you build your own team, your own system, and the right people around you, which is why Rashad still has something to prove, and I'm honestly rooting for him. While Gilbert has already shown he can build something successful, and now the challenge is doing it again on an even bigger stage. That's a different level. So let me know where you stand in the comments, because at the end of the day, it's all content, and whether they make peace or not doesn't really change that. But personally, I'd rather see them settle their differences and eventually work together again, because I think that's when the audience gets the best version of both of them.